Ben, have you ever put your tongue to a 9-volt battery?
Is the 9-volt battery like the square one, like the rectangle ones? Yes, of course.
So can you explain for us in the audience what that experience is like?
It's a little bit of a shock, followed by just like a metallic taste.
Oh, so right, the metallic taste. Okay.
Yes.
Is it like one of those things where, like, if you haven't done it, you probably should try it at least once?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel attacked right now.
Have you ever had a kumquat?
I haven't.
So kumquats are a very unusual but delicious, in my opinion, citrus. They're small. You eat them rind and all. So, or like, so you just pop the whole little thing like a little ball in your mouth, and then you chew, and it's very, very tart. And then the rind actually is sweet, and so it cuts that tart. It's basically Sour Patch Kids, but in God's candy form, and it is when they're not particularly ripe, but they're still very good. But in general, it leaves that metallic taste that a 9-volt battery leaves, which doesn't sell anybody on it.
Yeah. Were you trying to convince Alex to tongue a battery or something?
Yes, she was.
Got it.
He does not want to do that, and I don't understand why not.
I feel like there are things that you experience as kids that you're like, oh, I'm glad I did that just to like do it, but you don't do them as an adult.
Yeah, I missed the train. I missed the boat.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll never know what it's like, and I can live my life happy.
To a similar thing that I did, I mean, it's kind of like chewing on a honeysuckle. You're like, I don't know whoever told you, like, chew on a honeysuckle, and it's actually really delicious. But you're not going to do it as an adult actively unless you have a deficit or pica. But like, I used to suck on the heads of matches.
Jesus.
Okay, that's weird.
It is weird. Someone told me to do that, and so I actively did that. Like, whenever I would ask my mom to get a pack of matches from 7-Eleven or Altadena drive-through store and suck on the heads of matches.
How?
That can't be healthy.
It's not.
What did it taste like?
Sour.
Okay.
So it had like a sour vibe to it.
Okay.
I feel like, is it like red phosphorus or something they used to put in there that was, I'm pretty sure is definitely poisonous.
Well, it was the white-headed matches.
Oh, the ones with the little tip.
Yeah, like
the strike anywhere.
Well, not even.
God, I would hope not if they're in her mouth.
That's really good. Folks, welcome to another episode of Podcast of the Rings. I'm Jessica Lynn Verdi. I'm joined as ever by Alexander Mitchell and Ben Goddard. Welcome.
Hi.
Hello. Leave your comments below of how matches taste to you.
Oh my God! There's another version of that story that's not matches, but a different thing that I'll just save for another day. But it was like one of those things that I had like an awakening a couple years ago, and I was like, that's not normal. And like, because I forgot that I did it, and then all of a sudden I remembered. I was like, oh yeah, I used to suck on matches.
It's like when you tell your friends about something you used to do as a kid and thinking it's, oh yeah, everyone does this, and they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That is it 100%, except I had that realization in the middle of the night, like, having an existential crisis, essentially. Folks, speaking of existential crisis, wait, desolation is another big word. And we're wrapping up conversations.
What a segue.
It was so good. We're wrapping up conversations on the Desolation of Smaug by Peter Jackson. If you've been following along, this is now our 4th episode in this series with Ben Goddard talking about the movie, the live action film, The Hobbit. The films, I should say. And we went through part 1 of Desolation of Smaug last week, and so here we are wrapping out this movie. I think this is my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think the best and worst parts of this movie exist in the last part of this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. The wheels kind of start to fall off the wagon, but what we alluded to last week is you get an amazing sequence sort of right towards the end. So it's you take the good with the bad.
I mean, do you? Do you have to? Anyway, let's get into it. Before we do, Alex, vamp, because we forgot this last week. And I almost did too. Hold on one second.
Oh, the tarot cards. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah. So normally on this program, we have a weekly segment where a tarot card is pulled from the lovely Lord of the Rings themed tarot deck, and maybe it will relate to the film we just watched. Maybe it will relate to something going on in our lives. Maybe it will relate to what we're going to talk about. Yeah, sucking on matches, kumquats. Wwho knows?
Nothing will relate to that. By the way, nothing.
Oh
It's a
no, my
unique,
sweet cat is
singular
just so cold.
experience.
It's okay. You're a big girl. I know, you guys. This is it's a menagerie of cats over here. Okay, so Ben, while I'm shuffling. Question, and I don't know if I've asked you this yet. What are your feelings on like tarot in general, or some like mystical star alignment, astrology things?
I think they can be interesting. Like anything, if you allow it to completely dictate your life, I think that's not smart, and that goes like with anything that you allow, like rather than like rational thought. But I think it can be interesting. Like there's different connections that I find interesting and stuff.
Yeah,
but. I don't know. I haven't really looked enough, especially tarot. Tarot, I have not looked into enough to like make a judgment really either way, honestly.
Yeah, I there was a time where I don't know that it made me change my opinion or how I approach things, but I was like actively paying online to get tarot reads so that I could get comfort. And I think that was my version of like a
Scientology.
Religion. Yeah, well, that also. But I think I was seeking comfort in like having some unknowns figured out. Whereas like maybe someone who believes in, Christianity goes, it's all going to be fine because God's got my back. I didn't have that like belief behind me. And so I wanted something else, like an outside source to offer that to me, if that makes sense. But I've since then just enjoyed the fun coincidences and think the universe might want to tell you something, but nothing is going to change your life. All right, Ben, I'm going to spread them out, and when you tell me to stop, I'm going to stop, and that's going to be the card. So whenever you're ready.
Spread. Stop.
Ooh. Let's see. They do a good job on this deck where you can't tell which side is up or down. And this, my friends, it's the swords. We've gotten swords a lot, haven't we?
We got Faramir last time, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 7 of Swords is this one. Give me a moment while I
oh my gosh.
Consult the chart.
For the listeners, she is unfolding a literal treasure map.
Oh, they can hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, upright. It was upright. The 7 of Swords finds you with Wormtongue Wisp. We did get this one before, I think.
That's right. With I do remember that.
Yeah. With Wormtongue whispering in your ear, his words steeped in betrayal, you have likely discovered that some of your allies are really opponents, making you wonder if there's anyone you can trust. And there is yourself. Think strategically and keep your own interests top of mind. That's actually odd that we, out of however many cards.
And I would say very fitting for the first little bit of the movie we're going to be talking about.
Yes.
With scheming and betrayal.
We get Walmart Wormtongue in this movie.
We have Wormtongue at home.
You know what?
Wormtongue at home, yeah.
At the end of the film, that I did say to myself, I was like, oh, he's Wormtongue.
Yes.
Like, I realized that that's what they were trying to convey. And they also tried to convey it by giving him no eyebrows, wherein Brad Dourif has, they gave him too much eyebrows and Brad Dourif has no eyebrows. So they were really trying to be like, oh, look at this cool different choice we're making with the same character.
Yeah.
So, Ben, let's just jump into that then. Why don't we like him?
My first note, like I wrote notes about this, and I think I said in my notes earlier when they're wandering around the forest, this is where the movie kind of falls off. And my first note here is, wait, never mind. Alfred gets introduced. This is where the movie falls off.
Alfred
Wormtongue-
Lickspittle.
His name is Alfred?
Alfred, yeah.
Lickspittle is the last name, which is just,
Lickspittle?
yeah.
Well, I mean, Stephen Fry literally eats a ball. So it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
there are worse things than Lickspittle.
God, man, just everything about this character and for how like I'm okay with in general with like, oh, they don't like Bard because he's not the master of Lake Town, but everyone looks up to him, so he's politically threatening. I like that angle in a vacuum. How it's executed is so boring, so drawn out, so pointless. Like not everyone needs to be. You can't have two Aragorns. You can't have two Aragorns in one movie.
Yeah.
You can't have Thorin be Aragorn, and then you can't have Bard also be Aragorn, while the
Right.
Master of Lake Town is like the Denethor or something like that. Like you can't have.
He can't also be Theoden.
You can't have like the reluctant leader that everybody looks up to, but doesn't want the crown or whatever they're doing. And then Alfred himself is just so annoying. He's not menacing in any way like Wormtongue is. He doesn't seem smart or capable in any way. And Jess has not watched Battle of the Five Armies. He just sticks around, and he overstays his welcome in so many ways in this series. I don't know what Peter Jackson. He must have been. We said last week where like, oh, they were writing script on the day of or something. Like he must have been good at riffing, and Peter was just like, perfect, we'll keep him in the movie or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they kept this character around for literally the rest of these two movies. He's around.
Are we actually thinking that Thorin is the Aragorn archetype? Because he's so unlikable.
It's like what Ben's saying. It's you have this person who's returning and becoming king. So that's the kind of archetypal story you have going on with Thorin, despite the differences. Thorin obviously is not as reluctant as Aragorn is, but the similarities are definitely there. I mean, when think back to the first movie when you have him looking out over when they're just setting out and they're telling the story of the Battle of Moria and everything. It's he's very kingly in that moment.
I think they're at Weathertop too, aren't they? Oh no, Azog is. Azog's at Weathertop.
Yeah, they're close by.
Yeah,
but that kind of scene. So I would say Thorin is the Aragorn archetype of this tale.
So like I'm gonna advocate for the devil once again, but like with let's take what's the beginning of the episode 8 for the Star Wars when they brought Rey into things? What's the name of that?
Force Awakens.
Yeah, the Force Awakens.
No, the episode 8 is Last Jedi.
Yeah, 7 is the beginning of the new trilogy.
Thank you. Wait.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes, I.
Yeah, it's 7, 8, 9. Yeah.
7, 8, 9. I was trying to get it so right and be so cool. So the Force Awakens, it is a retelling of the first movie. You know what I mean? The Return of the Jedi. What was the first one?
A New Hope.
New Hope. Good night, everybody. I don't know.
Just
I
Star
just make
Wars
it up.
if you're a pedant about it.
Star Wars episode 4.
Yeah.
It is a retelling, so it can be done when you're like, I would like to harken back to these archetypes that are archetypes?
Yeah.
Archetypes.
You're right.
Yeah. I heard someone like get mad at somebody for saying archetypes, but whatever. So you can do it where it's like, oh wait, Rey is Luke and came from nowhere, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you're totally right where it's just because it's not good writing in general that it actually doesn't work. But maybe we don't realize that Bard is actually Faramir.
You would compare him more to Faramir?
Well, maybe that was what they were trying to do, and they failed.
I think they were trying to split the difference a little bit with like they know that Thorin is supposed to be like the return of their king, and then they're like, oh well, he's not a reluctant king, he wants to be king, and he feels like he's owed this, so we're gonna. And I don't know if like on the cutting room floor, Thorin and Bard interact more, and maybe Bard bestows some like reluctant wisdom onto him or something of like what it means to truly be a leader, or if there was more interactions with Balin about that. But Thorin doesn't learn anything until like this trilogy's 80% done.
If not more, I'm sure. I mean, according
Yeah.
to the book, he doesn't learn anything until after
Yeah.
he's about to die.
And so it's like, I don't know if he was supposed to impart some wisdom onto Thorin, Bard that is, but it seems like such a mess because like I said last week, I genuinely love Luke Evans in this role. And I think him and Evangeline Lilly are trying to do whatever they can with the material they are given, and they are working overtime, but they're just not given much. And especially with all this Lake Town politics, which this feels like a Star Wars prequel thing where it's like, I understand what George Lucas was trying to do with like, oh, hey, how did we get here? How did the Jedi fall? How did, Palpatine take over from within? There are interesting parts of the prequels, but even the biggest prequel defender, like Attack of the Clones, is just so boring and monotonous. And like, look at Game of Thrones. You can make political intrigue really exciting and like thrilling and cloak and dagger, and none of that is here or in Star Wars, the prequels.
Right.
Yeah, just because they have so little to draw on from the source material. There is a tiny little nugget about the Master in the book, but there's not really enough to draw that out into a whole subplot that spans 1.5 movies, or one movie essentially.
There is, though, if you do it well and you let the characterization do the work as opposed to explaining things. Like Stephen Fry as the Master is perfect casting. It's exactly who I would picture while reading the book. And it would make sense that he has a lackey, but let Stephen Fry just be good at being Stephen Fry instead of like, I think it comes down to getting bogged down in plot and stuff like that. Like, so this is like one of the things we talked about with our improv company. People don't care about the story of how sometimes like we need a little bit of like clarification. Oh, how did it happen that you happened to be at Disneyland at the same time the love of your life did? Oh, because it's my birthday. Great. We have enough plot now. But they don't care about a rom-com because of like everything works out perfectly. They care because the characters are charming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And their situations relatable. And Bard does win us over with like, oh, his wife's dead. Cool. But like, we don't understand or care about these people enough to get to buy into what's going on.
At least enough to justify the screen time, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's just not, there's not enough meat on the bone for me. Like, have some fun moments, but it's just too much. And again, it goes back to what we were saying, what we've said many times is it should have been 2 films, and just truncate it and you're good.
I think when we wrap out this series at the end of it, we could talk about like, what do we need? What would the 2 movies have been?
Yeah,
and
map
what
it out.
didn't we need?
Yeah. And because like there is interesting stuff when skipping ahead a little bit, when we find out that Girion is Bard's forefather, and he was the one that like kept shooting the bolt and like kept missing, and then like, which I find hilarious when they get into Lake Town, and then the son was like, well, if you knew that, you'd know that he loosed a scale and he needed one more shot. And Dwalin goes, that's just a tall tale. Are you kidding? We live in a world with like, you just saw stone giants fight each other, peeling themselves off mountains, but a dragon scale being loosened and is possible. No. That's a bridge too far, young child. Hush now. Just like the way he just like so just condescending, like, that's just
silly
a tall
humans.
tale.
Yeah.
You silly girl. It's like, oh my gosh.
Oh, geez.
Can you do anything likable, Dwalin?
No, he can't.
He really can't.
Because, like, you know what it is? We need to hate someone more than Thorin.
Yeah.
Like, we really need to go, okay, let's have someone worse than him. No, it's so annoying. And I vacillate, like, do I like that they know that there's a loosed scale? Do I like that they know that ahead of time? Isn't it better when Bilbo figures that out? But I guess there's no other way to get that information out there.
It is sort of in keeping with the canon that was like a legend passed down in the people of Lake Town.
I don't remember that being
when the narrator gives basically what we find out through the different characters in the movie adaptation. The narrator gives us in the book, and the scale is included there. And then when
I don't remember that.
When Bilbo goes to talk with Smaug, he then sees it.
I see. I don't remember that.
So he's then able to relay the exact location to Bard via the thrush later on.
Cool.
Because that bit of information, obviously, they wouldn't have known where the scale was. What did we think about? Because I was kind of mixed feelings on and we'll see it later, but the ballista being, the black arrow being handed down from Girion wasn't enough. It had to be a massive, weapon and this thing on top of a tower. Why did we need to upgrade that?
Here's why I think I agree with you on this, because that cool black arrow, big, mechanical bow thing. They don't just have that on a whim. Like, hey, let's have this cool thing on our lake. Like,
right.
It's a dragon slaying machine, and you're like, oh, just in case a dragon shows up, like you have this thing. I think that's the stretch for me. Is like, why do you have this incredible? No,
how was that a stretch to like? They have a dwarvish windlance right there. I'm sorry if it's like saying, I don't know, that's like having anti-aircraft guns during the Blitz. Like, of course you're going to have that.
But they didn't know that there was wait, hold on, help me then. Because I thought we're talking about them having, like, why do they have this machine that could loose a black arrow? What is the black arrow?
In the prologue, why did originally Erebor have one?
Yeah.
Okay. That I don't know, that they just have that. I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
the dwarves got bored and were
I thought you meant like, why did Lake Town have it? I was like, are you kidding? Like, it's right. There's one right there.
Well, no, but that's like when they shot it to begin with. Okay. Like, no one should have had dragon. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, being an
maybe
engineer
for the Eagles. Lake Town's always had problem with. Hey, that's part of the book. That's why the Eagles don't go around there, because they're always taking the livestock from Lake Town and Erebor. So maybe that's what they're for, because I'm sure Eagles can't be taken down with just regular arrows. Like,
you're taking a page from Alex's stretching book right now, but I actually like it, and it's good.
It's great.
It's good.
That's my headcanon now.
Have you looked at America? Why do we need half the weapons that we have right now? Like, have you seen the craziness that some of those Doomsday Prepper guys have? Like, I'm not surprised that a thriving town like that just had a bunch of amazing dwarvish crafters, which is like, you know what, build us a windlance.
Yeah,
Erebor.
Erebor is the America of Middle Earth.
Oh no!
Basically. Yeah, the military-industrial complex was strong during Thrain's
you never know.
reign.
Like, doesn't Bilbo say like what draws a dragon is like great gold and stuff like that? So maybe they kind of they knew they knew that prepping, with how vast the riches they had, like, you see, which we'll get to it, how they ever thought Bilbo was supposed to find the Arkenstone in a literal city. Like, Scrooge McDuck would blush at the amount of treasure is in this mountain. But like, it's insane. But just like, they have an exorbitant amount of wealth, so maybe they thought that better safe than sorry, and they tried.
You gave us 3 reasons as to why, and that sells me on it alone. That's good. I'm good with it. But it is like, okay, anyway. No, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm an idiot. Moving on. What's next?
So
go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
we had our introduction to Alfred, Bard sneaking the dwarves in these barrels full of fish, nearly getting exposed, and then Bard pulling the do you want the townsfolk to know that you just dumped some perfectly good food in the water? Clearly there's unrest there. Then we get an amazing shot of cute little pugs, and then we get our introduction to Stephen Fry as the master and the aforementioned ball gobbling scene, which is just
Does
lovely.
it happen before then that Bard sneaks them through the town and then gets caught?
That happens right after the ball gobbling.
Okay, great. We'll wait then. I'll wait because let's
luxuriate
just
in this. Yeah,
I want to know and Lord knows I'm not going to research this. Did he actually eat some balls? Because that looks foul.
I literally have how Jess feels about the Goblin King is how I feel about the master eating goat balls. And the fact that he's like, it's one thing for him to be like, and then he's like picking it out of his teeth. Like, it's just
the gristle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so rough.
Dripping in slime. It's not like, I don't even know what the point is here. I mean, again, it's great because it's Stephen Fry, but it's also awful because it's Stephen Fry. Like, what are you?
Also, this is like a children's story. I know that there's violence and these are PG-13 movies, but why are you gonna have someone just eating balls on screen? It's a bold choice that I don't understand. That I think they were trying to play this for comic relief, obviously, especially with the way the cut is to Alfred when he says "bollocks, sire," right? Like it's supposed to be this funny joke.
Yeah,
but it's just disgusting. Like it does not land the way they wanted it to.
You know what, though? If anything, Stephen Fry can say at the end of his career, I ate balls on screen.
Yeah.
And that makes sense to, like, Stephen Fry, actually, I really respect him so much, as most people do. Speaking as to one of the reasons why I'm atheistic or at least agnostic, he's like, how could there be a God if this God lets children starve and be killed? Like, and honestly, I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty great reason to not believe in a God. But that's just me. Been totally tangential. So we got him eating some balls. It's absolutely horrible. And then Bard's like, let me sneak you through town so no one sees you. Very obviously.
This is another thing. This is extended version. This is not in the theatrical cut. In the theatrical cut, they're like, how are we going to get in? And they come up straight through the toilet. And this is where the extended cut makes no sense. Literally half the town sees them. Guards see them. And like, are these guards unconscious all the way until the dwarves are imprisoned or like brought before the master? Like, is that what we're supposed to believe, that they're like knocked out for literal 12 hours?
I would, if we're playing the game of let's explain the only possible rational explanation, clearly when it cuts away after all the townsfolk, do the whole, we're going to help out our hero Bard and like cover with the baskets and, do all the cutesy stuff. Clearly they dragged them and slit their throats and then just dumped the bodies into the lake.
In the lake. Yeah. There's a lot of bodies in that lake for sure.
Yeah, we didn't get to see that, but it definitely happened. Otherwise, it makes no sense.
It's the dumbest.
This is where like the extended version, like it increases the lovability of Lord of the Rings, and in this one, it just like it's to its detriment, where it's just like, okay, just logically, why would you have half the town? Like, because in the theatrical cut, like when he goes and sees the blanket of explaining all of the dwarvish legacy, someone's like, oh, I saw dwarves. And you're like, oh yeah, maybe someone did see them like on their way in or something like that. But in this, it's like, no, they went through the market. Like they went through the main market they walked through downtown Lake Town.
Yeah.
Like on their way to Bard's house. It's
don't
like,
even say that we're like gonna hide you either.
Yeah.
Like just don't say that. Just like do a sequence where it's like, all right, now we got to get you this way. Like, okay, like just move.
Yeah.
Right.
Again, it's like the showing, not knowing thing.
I think the point of the scene is to increase Bard's likability by showing that all the townsfolk have his back no matter what.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't make logical sense with what comes later with, how the dwarves get revealed and stuff. So I get what they were going for with trying to show, oh, everybody loves Bard. They're going to help him out no matter what, even if he's bringing these creepy, weird dwarves that smell like fish through our marketplace. And then we also get the moment where Bard pokes fun at the guard by holding up the sort of lingerie piece. I thought I'd get this for your wife.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's just it, though. The reason why they don't stick to landing is exactly what your point is, like how they get revealed.
Yeah.
Like Thorn wouldn't just come out, I'm here, or whatever. Like then you just wasted our time that way. And I guess that's where it gets frustrating for me. Anyway, so they hang out at Bard's house, meet the kids who don't know how to say dad.
Well, before we get inside,
someone else drive the bus, please.
Before we get inside, we have
oh no,
because they can't go. That we get the cut to them coming up through the toilet, and Bard is like, "Oh hey, tell the master I'm home." We have that spy network, and we get the cameo by Stephen Colbert as the guy with the eye patch.
That's
sort
right.
of moving the fishing pole or whatever. Or knocking a lantern on something. I don't know, whatever. But we get a cool Stephen Colbert cameo. Good for him. He's a massive Lord of the Rings nerd, and he's doing great work for the Lord of the Rings nerd fandom. So props to him.
Exactly. I was very happy seeing that. Like it was honestly less obvious than Peter Jackson's own carrot eating cameo, for at least for me.
I was gonna say,
like he's
how
in
would
makeup.
You know it's him?
Yeah, like he's in makeup, and then he immediately flips an eye patch down. So, by the way, what a subtle like hint or like sign to like you have to have some eagle-eyed spies to be like, oh, his eye patch is down. Okay, like all right,
yeah,
Bard's turned the corner. But I was okay with this one. Like I know everyone knows how big of a fan he is, so I was like, yeah, this is a nice little cameo. I remember when Game of Thrones, when Ed Sheeran like was on there, like he had to like delete his social media because people are so awful about it. Like,
oh really?
People are terrible.
Really?
Yeah, they were really bad about it.
Oh,
when like
God.
he wasn't even like the focus of the scene. And he's like, yeah, dude, it's just if I was famous, I like Daniel Craig was a stormtrooper. I'd do that too. Like,
was he?
Yeah, yep. In Force Awakens,
when Rey's getting interrogated.
Yeah, when she does the Jedi mind trick on him, that's Daniel Craig.
Is he wearing a mask?
Yeah,
I see.
You just hear his voice.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Was he a big actor at that point?
Oh yeah, he had done like 3 Bond movies by that time.
Okay. Crazy. Good for him. Yeah, like why wouldn't you pull your cash?
Exactly.
Whatever. People suck. Everyone just like wants to, poop in their Cheerios. So
yeah,
exactly.
Whatever.
There's plenty of other criticisms we have for this movie. Stephen Colbert cameo, not one of them.
Not one of them.
Totally. All right. Now we get to meet Bard's stupid kids who can't say the word dad or father, and it is another Jackson. It's the eldest. The eldest daughter is Peter Jackson's daughter.
Oh, it is? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure because she was she was like one of the Hobbit kids in the trilogy and in the original trilogy, and then she was also later, I think, in Minas Tirith as a kid. So she's had a couple cameos in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and now she has a
man. I would not want to be a kid in Minas Tirith in that movie. Good Lord,
no, not a good lot.
Not, yeah.
Wait, is it her? I don't know if it is her. It might not be her.
It looks like I thought it was one of the kids. Maybe it's the younger one.
Maybe, but because I'm looking at it right now. You keep on going. We're good.
Okay. But I can't remember which of Bard's daughters says this line, but I really enjoyed it when the dwarves are coming up. She's like, "Oh, it's dwarves. Will they bring us luck?"
I love that too.
The idea of like there's a myth or legend in Lake Town that dwarves coming through your toilet will bring you luck. Is just hilarious to me.
But yeah, just of course one of the dwarves, like they're coming up through the toilet, and one of the dwarves like has to, I don't know if it's a dwarf or Bilbo that has to like spit water out, and I'm like, oh, like why is there so much toilet humor at like in this movie? Just like the ball eating with like the sinew of the meat, and then just like spitting out toilet water. It's like, guys, like Oh my gosh.
The worst.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, we're halfway through the movie. Any kids watching this will be really bored at this point. We got to get them. We got to hook the
gotta get 'em
10-year-olds
somehow.
toilets. We got it. Yeah, and then this is where after they come up and they're settled, Bard and them talk, and we get the what Thorin spots the Windlands that we talked about before, and we get the flashback to Girion shooting Smaug with the black arrow, and then the kid saying, "Oh yeah, we all know the legend," and it being written off.
Yes, and I have in my notes, I love that they're still withholding Smaug. You still don't know what he looks like, and I love that. The restraint of at least that, like, if they just showed the restraint that they have for Smaug until he's revealed that they have for the rest of this, with like Alfred and the runtime, then it would have been so much better, because Jackson knew he had the ace in the hole. He had the ace up his sleeve. He was holding the winning card with Benedict Cumberbatch's Smaug, and he was going to wait until the last moment to reveal him, and I do love that. So I do give the movie credit for that.
So, just to go back, Katie Jackson plays Betsy Butterbur, not the daughter of Bart.
Oh, okay. So she is in it.
Peggy Nesbitt is the daughter.
Okay, I misremembered that. Then I thought it was her. It looks like her.
They have some similar. You just think all girls look alike, Alex.
Yeah. Sue me.
No, they have some similar, like, doe-eyed, you know.
Yeah, the hair, the curly hair.
For sure. So yes, I think I'm with you that, like, we don't know what Smaug is, and that like, even Alex and I waiting to get to that moment because I haven't seen this movie. I was like, oh, I just can't wait now. They did whet my appetite with that well.
Yeah, they did a great job, and like, you know, I haven't seen the Rankin and Bass Hobbit in so long, and it's like he's very cat-like with like his eye beams.
It's wild.
And
like he has like whiskers and stuff too. Yeah.
And so like I didn't mind the design, but you know, like we've had Aragon, we've had Game of Thrones, we've had a lot of dragons in media for a while now, and this was the big hype, is that like Peter Jackson was like, this is the best dragon ever put to screen. And so I was really looking forward to it.
Great. So they get bad weapons from Bard.
Yes, they're looking for forged iron, and he has none to give.
They're so ungrateful.
They're used to the creature comforts of dwarvish living, and Lake Town doesn't have it.
They're I just get more and more angry with them.
To be fair, if you knew you were about to potentially face a dragon and someone handed you like a spade or a hoe, you'd probably be a little bit put off. Like, look, I'm going to die if I can't defend myself.
Right.
So I have some sympathy. They're going up against Smaug.
Yeah,
right?
But they've been ungrateful this
get.
entire time.
And also, it's like Thorin was there. An entire dwarvish army got decimated,
right?
Along with a human army, you know, whatever was an Erebor. Like, it. Oh no, what am I thinking? What's the human town? What's the Desolation of Smaug?
Bree.
Dale. That's right. Yeah. So like Dale and Erebor were both like decimated within minutes, and so it's like, oh, 13 dwarves have
desolated.
Like, nice. She's really proud of that one, guys. You should see the look on her face.
Just let it sit. Let
her just stew in that real quick.
I feel really good.
But they are, like, the way they say it, they're like, oh, come on. And they throw it back on the table. We had a deal. It's like, oh, he just snuck you in. Like, you weren't going to get in. You were going to, like, either die on the river, like the lakeside by orcs, or drown trying to swim there. Like, so be somewhat grateful, man. It's killing me.
They had to be ungrateful, otherwise we wouldn't have a reason for Thorin to reveal himself. Because
which means he could have just done it before he got snuck through town.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's what happens in the book, right? He just shows up and goes, "Hey, I'm the king." But here, because we have all this other plot with the master and, you know, the conflict, he can't do that. So that's why they need to give them a reason. Bard lets slip, oh, well, the only forged weapons you're gonna find are in the armory. So they go in the middle of the night to sneak in and steal weapons. And they're doing well, but then our pretty tall for a dwarf boy, Keeley,
Oh God.
his leg starts hurting because he's been poisoned, and he drops all the weapons. And
why
then
are you
alerts
giving
the
him the
guards.
weapons? They know he's injured.
Right.
Like maybe they don't know like he's slowly being poisoned to death or something, but like they saw him get shot.
Yeah, everybody's seeing him wincing and everything at this point. Even in Bard's house, he's like, like it's it's so obvious.
So he's being a baby. He's like, oh, I just want my elf bride to be here. Help me.
Also, the fact that he doesn't die falling down the stairs with an armful of swords is a miracle.
Truly.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not that good at weapons then.
They comically stack him up like armful. Like he's got like 30 swords in his arms when he falls over. It's like, guys, there's 13 of you. You're good.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, that's not how you should be carrying sharp bladed objects.
No.
Not the safest. But so they get captured, and then we also have the scene where Bard goes and looks at the tapestry. Just happens to be like, oh, this dwarf. Maybe it's Thorin, and confirms it.
Oh, I think they say that. I think they say Thorin, like when they're like talking about the weapons. I think he overhears. Oh, he overhears Thorin.
The name. Okay, yeah. That's why. So he finds this tapestry that confirms, oh, this is the guy from Durin's line. He is the king. And then we cut to Tauriel and Legolas. Tauriel is still chasing after Keeley and this band of orcs. This dynamic is so weird to me. Like the fact that like Tauriel is just like, I need to hunt down this orc band and not let them go. Because like it seems like in this scene she's not necessarily, at least overtly, like I need to go after Keeley, even though that's probably a part of it. Mm-hmm. But we get her saying like, we can't let evil do this, and we gotta hunt down every last one of them and kill them.
Did this happen last episode and I just forgot to mention it? Is this when Thranduil is like, no one could go outside, and someone was like, Tauriel's like, well, she hasn't returned, and it's like, Tauriel just left.
Yeah.
It's some like weird timing. Okay, got it. Okay. So now she feels like she knows what she's going to do. She's just lying.
Yeah, she's lying to herself, I think.
I give her the benefit of the doubt here. I think it's like 70-30, 70% like, because she heard the orcs say like, your world is gonna burn, you don't know what's coming, and on like the orcs like straight up challenge them at their borders, like, and she's not having it. She's very proud. She's trying to make a name for herself. Like she wants to prove herself, I think, in a certain way. Right. Because like King Thranduil's like, you know, grace means a lot to obviously everybody. So I think it's a little bit of both. I think she is worried a small amount about Keeley, but I think she does think like there's something. Orcs have never done this before. Orcs have never come into our lands at our river gate and killed us and challenged us like that.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Something's different is happening. So I think it's a little bit of both.
And we do get a call back to Lord of the Rings in their dialogue. Yeah.
It's the first one.
Yeah. It's the only one we'll ever have.
Only one.
Where she says to Legolas when he's like, we got to protect our land, whatever. And she says like, are we not a part of this world? We can't just hide. And so that's when we have the stuff in Fangorn with the Entmoot. Merry says that to Treebeard. He's like, aren't you a part of this world? So little bit of a allusion to that there.
It's good stuff. I like it. I like Tauriel and Legolas in these movies. Like,
oh, you are wrong.
No, they're giving good performances, man.
It's so cheesy and it's so hammy, and she's trying so hard. I'm with you that the writing could be better, and maybe they're doing the best they can with what they've got. It's just, I think I can't see past what story they're telling.
I know, like, I'm fully aware that I have Middle Earth rose-colored glasses on for these movies, that, like, I really focus on the things that I love. And I think that they work. I think their friendship works. I think you called Legolas an F-boy last week, and I meant to heartily disagree. He never presses her about anything. He never drops his father's name. Like the only
time. But he does get like butthurt that she's not
you can't help
interested.
if you feel someone and someone's falling in love right in front of your eyes. Like, he doesn't ever take it out on her and like, oh, shun her and like, oh yeah, my dad was right about you. Bye.
That's
like,
true.
no, he honors her completely. And yeah, of course you're gonna get hurt. Of course you're gonna get hurt. Like, it's not no one's fault, but you can't help your feelings.
I would say he's more of a simp than an F-boy.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I would simp for Evangeline Lilly and elf ears too.
Fair point. Yeah, you can't blame the guy.
Yeah.
All right. You're right.
So after we get their conversation where he's simping hard, we get Alfred informing the master of the unrest, all the people clamoring. Now the rumors of Thorin have spread, and the dwarves are brought before the master in the middle of town. Everybody's there. And this is where we get the moment of Thorin revealing himself and giving a very rousing and inspiring speech, saying he's going to bring all the wealth and gold back from the mountain and enrich Lake Town and rebuild Dale and all of this stuff. And then we get Bard naysaying him, basically like, dude, you're going to wake the dragon up. This is not going to be good. It doesn't matter how much wealth we have if we're all burnt to a crisp. And then we get this moment of Alfred questioning like Thorin's character and just legitimacy. Like, how can we trust this guy? And then this weird moment where, hey, remember that like Bilbo's around? Like, it's been maybe like 15 or 20 minutes since he's done anything.
Yeah.
And Bilbo is the one who steps up and speaks for Thorin's character, which, again, it further plays into that kind of push and pull dynamic with Bilbo and Thorin, like respecting each other, which will get tested later on. But also the townsfolk like respond to Bilbo vouching for Thorin, like, oh yeah, like we believe you. And it's like, why would they have this reaction? Because he's with Thorin, so clearly he's going to stick up for him, and he could just be lying, right? And he's not a human, at least as they know it, you know? So no one's looking at him like, who is this guy and what is this guy? Like, I feel like nobody in Lake Town has seen a Hobbit before. They can tell he's not a dwarf. Maybe they think he's like a small dwarf. It's just a very odd moment that they would side with Bilbo, and that would sway people's opinion.
Yeah, that's such a weird moment because I do another thing I like Thorin's speech of like bringing wealth back. Like, this was the jewel of the lake. Like, this was a prospering trade center. Like, what happened to this place? I will bring that back. And then Bard saying like, yeah, cool, that's a great speech, but you forgot that there's a dragon sitting on top of that. What are you going to do about that? Like, bringing, you know, the reality back to like this, you know, this fanaticism type thing. And then Bill was like, oh, yes, I believe in Thorin. Okay, you're good. Bye. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It's because he's super charming, guys. Come on.
Yeah, he definitely, with all the charisma Martin Freeman could muster, swayed people's opinion. But it is, in this scene, it is like kind of, we get to see more of that dynamic of the master conniving, because he's the one who gets the final word. And he sort of writes Bard off, obviously, because he doesn't like Bard. And the way he does it is by saying like, well, we wouldn't have to worry about the dragon if your ancestor hadn't messed up and not killed him. He had his shot. So like, you don't get to talk.
Rude.
Arrow after arrow, he fired. I just
exactly.
Alfred, so it's the worst.
Everybody hates him.
What if Alfred is like the bastard brother of Bard and he's just upset?
That would have given him something. That would have given him something, like
right?
The reason why he sticks around for so long in this. Oh, it's just the weirdest. Like, it's annoying at the end of the day, but it's just, I'm moreover just confused. Like, I know this guy couldn't did this guy test well or something with everyone? There's no way. And I'm not hating on the actor. The actor did exactly what he was supposed to do.
He did a good
very
job.
Annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just like it was pointless. Like Wormtongue had a point. Like he was like this conniving, and then at the end of Return of the King, like you felt sorry for him that he was also fooled and, you know, like belittled by Saruman, and like Theoden was about to forgive him. But it's just like there's just nothing with Alfred. There's absolutely zero.
Yeah, no substance, all grimy style. So we get the Master welcoming Thorin and company in, and this is later revealed to be just a part of his plot, because he's basically, it's a win-win for me. They either enrich the town and achieve their purpose, or they'll die, and I don't have to worry about them. So the next morning, all the dwarves set off for Erebor. They have weapons and armor gifted to them, ill-fitting as they may be. But we get this pivotal moment where the dwarves split up. Thorin will not let Keely go on the quest after his little kerfuffle. After, you know, clearly he's not fit, right? He couldn't even carry swords down the stairs. And so Feely stays behind with him, and then I think Owen also stays behind. I'm not sure why, or if they ever.
I think it's Gloin.
It's either Gloin or Owen, like one of the two. I can't. The one who has the hearing thing, but I don't think they ever explain why he stays behind, or maybe I missed it. And then Bomber, who slept in, which
Beaufort.
Beaufort. Yes.
Yeah.
Beaufort, who slept in, which is completely implausible to me, because I get like, okay, the wounded one, stay in town, get better, you're only a liability. But there's only 13 dwarves. They would notice if one of their
it's like
company
a Home Alone situation.
Exactly, like everybody forgot about Kevin. Like how could they forget Beaufort? And because he's also the best, so like clearly they're gonna notice it when he's gone. And they would just be like, all right, we're leaving. Sorry, like, you know, this boat is on a timer. Like, no, they would just wait for him. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, I don't like that they split him up either. Like it's better for them all to be together. You never split the party.
True. And also it's like they're cutting this insanely close. Like they leave on Durin's Day and they have to be there at the last light of Durin's Day. And apparently they were like drinking and partying the night before. And, you know, like twice they get lost, and, you know, they don't know where the stairs are. They don't know where to go. And like they're climbing the entire mountain in one day. It's like, yo, like start that night, camp out, and then move forward. Like they're cutting it insanely close.
Yeah, agreed. When they know they have that ticking clock, on the Durin's Day thing, take off it as soon as you can. But maybe it took, you know, a few hours or the evening to get their provisions ready, and so they thought that would be more important. But either way, it's just insane that Beaufort's left behind. But again, for reasons of plot, it needs to happen because they needed enough dwarves to do stuff in Lake Town. So Beaufort got relegated to that, which is I'm sad for, because he's one of my favorites, and I think all of that Lake Town dwarf stuff is just odd.
Yep.
So we also get an amazing band of minstrels playing them out with crazy looking instruments. I really enjoyed that as a musician. These instruments of Middle Earth.
Now we head over to Gandalf and Radagast, correct?
Yes.
To Dol Guldur.
Yes. Yeah. We once again see the bunny sled, which everyone loves. The Roscoble rabbits. Do we
love it?
I like the Roscobel rabbits. I think they're cute.
Why doesn't everyone else have Roscobel rabbits?
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know, it takes a wizard to train them to be that quick. I think.
Right. It is silly. It's silly and it's great. And he's weird, and it's a really great portrayal of a character, by the way. But it is just silly.
I disagree.
What? He's Radagast. He's weird.
That doesn't mean he's comic relief. In the same way that, like, there's elements of Gimli in the movies I like. I don't like that he was kind of like, he's just going to be the comic relief.
I see.
It's not like, as you can, as we've been reading the books together, Jess, like that's not how he is in the books. And so.
No, but he's not taken 100% seriously in general by people. That doesn't mean he's a bad wizard. I think that's all that he's trying. He definitely is an exacerbated version of the character for sure.
Mm-hmm. So they roll up to Dol Guldur, and Gandalf notices, there's a spell of concealment over this place, so they can't see what's within.
Very D&D, by the way.
Yes.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yes.
This
whole
he
rolled to see if there was a spell, and he rolled an 18.
Just cast detect magic.
Yeah, he can't see, but he's like, I know something's going on here.
Mm-hmm. And because that he critted on his detect magic, he's like, well, Sauron clearly hasn't reached full strength if he's hiding. So he feels like he must go in. And this is, again, where I just question choices of characters, because he just sends Radagast away to give a message to Galadriel, because he's like, we need to force Sauron's hand right now, and I'm going to go in completely alone and not wait. It makes no sense.
I mean, hey, we've seen what Gandalf could do against a Balrog. If he thinks that Sauron's just like this necromancer, I don't think he expects Azog's full army to be in there, but he just thinks like the necromancer is, like chilling, biding his time. So, I mean, not the smartest of plans, I agree, but also I don't think Radagast is much of a fighter. I think Radagast is very good at what he does, being one with nature, healing nature, being with the trees and the animals and stuff. I don't think he's much of a warrior. So he sends him to go get Galadriel, Elrond, and Saruman. I would also rather Radagast do that than fight alongside me. I'd rather have the 3 out of 10 go get the 10 out of 10s rather than, Gandalf, who's, I'd say, a 9 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10. Sure. I'd rather have...
Gandalf the Grey is a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, Gandalf the White's 10 out of 10 for sure. I remember even like I watched Nerd of the Rings and like those videos where it's like book Gandalf would have smoked the Witch King. Like they nerfed him in the movies, which I completely agree with.
The Witch King broke his staff. It's insane.
Yeah. So I agree with this. I don't. There's literally a line where I think they cover their base enough by saying like, what if it's a trap? He's like, go Radagast, turn around. It's most undoubtedly a trap. So, like, Gandalf knows what he's walking into.
But then I think that's the argument. I think you're right that it's like, first of all, by the way, they can talk. Galadriel and Gandalf can talk miles away in each other's head. So why isn't Gandalf just like, hey, by the way, this thing's going on, come here? He could do that.
I think it's a one-way
I know
thing.
But I think the real argument is, yes, send Radagast. Don't go in and fight them.
Because that's what they do in the books, not to be the guy who's like, in the books, but I'm going to be that guy.
Do they do that in the books? Oh, because they write
the White Council convenes and they all go and just expel the necromancer. Like, that's what happens. Gandalf doesn't go in by himself to fight him. He does go in and, again, they're condensing timelines. There was an instance of him going in alone and the necromancer fled, but then came back because he was weak. But there is no, what we'll see later on, where sort of Sauron defeats Gandalf and then the White Council comes. So it doesn't seem like a move Gandalf would make. Gandalf is a smart guy. He's a wise guy. If he knows he has backup and they're going to be able to come and he's sending Radagast to get them, why aren't you going to wait for the backup?
He's a wise guy, huh? Gabba Gandalf over here. Am I right? Am I talking about it?
He is the Gandalfini, more like
men who paint houses.
Take the staff, leave the cannoli.
Exactly.
The New York is responsible for all the architecture, thanks to the Italians. My dad would talk about that often. So anyway,
but this is another extended thing where we meet Thrain. Thrain is at Dol Guldur, and this is all extended stuff. Mm-hmm. And we see that Sauron has taken his ring, and I have here in my notes, Gandalf is very impatient with a POW of like 50 years.
It's so true.
He's like slapping him like, get it together, man. I know you've been in this evil wizard prison with terrible orcs and being tortured for the last half century, but can you... Yeah, it's like that scene in Airplane where they're shaking that lady, like taking turns, like slapping her.
100%. Again, this Gandalf is not operating at full mast right now.
Yeah, he's in panic mode apparently. I did really enjoy though in this whole sequence, like Peter Jackson's background in horror really shines in these kinds of moments with like the cinematography, the camera work, like these kind of horror sequences that he has in Lord of the Rings, like with Minas Morgul and a lot of the stuff in Mordor, the Shelob sequence, and here in Dol Guldur. Beautiful on the screen, despite what I may think of some of the character motivations and choices. Just gorgeous. I don't necessarily like the way that they chose to represent Gandalf's use of magic.
His shield bubble.
Yeah, like the force fields blasting out, and then when he has that battle with Sauron when finally he reveals himself. It was like just odd. Like the editing threw me off, and maybe that was an intentional thing of like making it unsettling. But yeah, just the visual representation of their battle of wills. I'm like, it's a little bit too Hollywood.
Like the same thing happened. Well, one, we got to talk about Thrain's Wilhelm scream when he gets yanked and yeeted off screen. Like, just I don't know what sound editor got away with one right there, but woof.
Well, they do it on purpose.
Maybe it was Peter Jackson rebelling.
But it was so loud, and like this was different because we get him all the time in Star Wars. We've got him in these movies. Like, when I think when an elf falls off of Helm's Deep is when we get one as well. Like, and that definitely stands out too. But this one, it was like dead silent, and then just I was like, oh my, it didn't even sound like, especially since we just had this serious conversation of like, tell Thorin I love him.
Yeah,
like, oh god,
and that's
so jarring.
That's why it's so weird. Is the tonal whiplash? You have this like serious moment with it's not just some random red shirt like it has been in I think it was an orc in the first one. There was a Wilhelm scream. This is like a character who's having this emotional moment, and then just it's like tonal whiplash, and they really wanted you to hear the scream. It's
so pronounced.
I think. Maybe it is because you talked about last time, and you actually sent Jess and I something where it was an actor talking about his experience. I think the actor who plays Ori or Nori, Jed Brophy, of how Peter Jackson was sort of fighting with the studio. Maybe this was a little bit of rebellion of going, okay, you're gonna make me do all this stuff. Well, I'm gonna just put a little bit of zhuzh on it and to have some fun with it, just to keep my sanity.
Yeah, and
it's so odd.
Yeah, going what you were saying with the editing, with the magic battle between Sauron and Gandalf, where it's just like, it's the same thing like 5 times in a row where like he puts up the force bubble, the black wind is coming in, it breaks, and then he puts it back up at the last second. And then I don't know if it was an extended version thing. I haven't seen the theatrical cut in a minute, so I don't know if they cut it down to like maybe 2 times before he finally breaks, but like it happens, like the same thing happens 5 times in a row. And it was so weirdly edited where it felt like it was like almost on a loop.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I will say, followed by this, when Gandalf finally, like his staff melts away and he gets pinned up against the wall, I do love the fire exploding and you see the silhouette in flame of Sauron walking towards him and it slowly turns into the eye. I think that is very well done.
It's a cool moment, and you get like the zoom where it's almost like an infinity kind of thing, like very 2001-esque.
It is very weird. It's very what's it called, the monolith type thing, but I think it works in that moment to where it doesn't feel overblown. Like anyone with a pulse knows that it's Sauron, and so I wish he wouldn't have said it. Like, it's not quite the text appearing saying Mordor in Rings of Power.
But it's not that.
But it's not that. So if they would have just left that, like, this this look of terror on Gandalf's face, truly realizing who this is, not some necromancer.
Sauron.
Yeah. And so I wish they would have left that like wordless and just because Ian McKellen's Ian McKellen. He can do the work.
Yes. Yeah.
We've seen it before plenty of times in every type of genre. So just let Ian McKellen work, like show, don't tell. And you showed it so well. You literally had him with the crown, with the flaming eye, everything right there. I don't need him to say Sauron. So like 8 out of 10, -2.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people who don't have sight need to hear him say Sauron. But if that were the case, then he would need to say it more clearly.
Yes.
Sauron.
Sauron.
Like his lungs are being compressed up against that wall of stone. So
I mean, it's sick. It is sick,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work for sure. All right, so bye-bye Gandalf. That's the last we see of him, right?
in this movie, yes.
No,
Yes.
he's dead now.
Or no, I think we get one more shot of him in the cage.
Yeah,
when the orc
when the
armies
armies
are
are moving
issuing
out.
forth. But that's it.
Oh,
yeah.
I did not catch that.
Okay, so now we have the dwarves coming upon the secret door, and I know. Yep.
Real quick, I do have it in my notes. Like, while I love the reveal of Sauron, I feel like this whole thing negates the entirety of Gandalf's research and fellowship, where like he discovers that like, oh no, Sauron's still like his power is still tied to the ring. Does anybody agree with that? That like, if this was 60 years, if I witnessed this 60 years ago,
Yeah.
like this feels almost like the same thing with Azog, where like, you know what happens in the book. So like the White Council will, expel Sauron in the next movie in some way. But like, no matter what, if I saw this kind of display of power, I wouldn't be like, maybe he's still around.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, he's not like at his full power here. And, if you look at, Dol Guldur as a fortress and the amount of orcs there compared to when he eventually flees back to Mordor, it's night and day. Mordor is huge. He's at his most powerful there. So when you have that expelling of the the White Council expelling him, they think, okay, we've dealt with the problem. And then you have the meetings later about the ring, where Saruman's saying like, no, don't worry, it's been cast out to sea, which we get sort of in a different order here in the movie. Saruman's like, don't worry about it, like the ring's still around, but there's no way he could possibly get it. It's been lost. So I don't think this version in the adaptation necessarily negates the revelation, because that is the revelation Gandalf comes to, that the One Ring isn't lost, and therefore Sauron is even more dangerous than they thought. Because that's the main point, is that even though Sauron was around, they thought there's no way he can get his hands on the one, so we don't really have to worry about him that much. He might be able to amass some orcs and stuff, but that's about it.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
We're doing a lot of legwork for this movie, gentlemen.
We are.
So we have Thorin and company approaching the entrance to the hidden door. And I know when we were watching this together, Jess, you really enjoyed Thorin saying to Bilbo, you have keen eyes, Mr. Baggins, when he spots, what does he spot, Jess?
An actual statue of a dwarf.
Just a massive,
like a skyscraper with stairs on the side of it.
The only etching into this mountain,
right,
on the side of which they're looking.
And Thorin's like, nice job, Bilbo.
You know what? I guess that's nice. It's like, it's kind of always feels nice when your boss is like, hey, good job, even if it's like a menial task. But it would have read better if Thorin was like, good job, idiot. Like, it would have been so much better. Like,
well, I understand maybe they don't know where Durin's door is, because, dwarf doors are very secret. But how does Thorin not know where these stairs are?
Yeah, because he grew up.
Yeah, like he was born and raised on this mountain.
Yeah.
Well, that and no one says, oh, look at the Mount Rushmore on the other side of the mountain that we have, and something's obviously there. Wouldn't you look there first? I don't know. It did bother me. It bothered me so much.
Well, this is another thing where it's like we have to give Bilbo something to do because since he put people in wine barrels, he hasn't had anything to do.
Yeah.
But
he could have found it. But why is the design of a giant dwarf right there?
Yeah, because like even the stairs of Cirith Ungol, you walk by the staircase, like you can miss those,
right?
Because it's like a sheer scale, and there's like little tiny steps where like you're like crawling on your hands and knees to get through there. But these are legitimately just like stairs.
And in the book, it takes them days to find the door, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes them a while.
Yep.
Like again, like you have nothing but time in this story, but you're wasting it on everything else.
I mean, we're not there yet, but we eventually got to cut back to Lake Town to see what's up with Keeley and all that stuff.
Okay. Do we actually
we don't have time for the actual journey to the door. We just cut right to him finding it.
Well, on top of that, they get to the door. They can't figure out what it means. Like they're looking for the last slide of Durin. They can't find it. And immediately they're like, break it down. Like that's not going to work.
They should know that, but
they should know that. But also they leave. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's insane.
You have just gone through literal hell. You have been chased by orcs, by wizards, by giant spiders. You've escaped an elvish kingdom. You have been shot at, stabbed, almost cooked, crawled through a toilet, and you were going to leave in 3 minutes?
Yeah. They're there for 2 seconds.
Where do you have to go? You, like, just in the thing of the story, you have no home. You have nowhere to go.
At least just take 5 and, like, take a breather.
And Thorin just drops the key? After he gave Gandalf all that gruff of, like, oh, I didn't know it was yours to keep. Like, bro, apparently you don't even want it. Like, this is the most... I don't want to say this is the most frustrating thing because I'm sure I'll be more frustrated next movie. But just, like... This is insane to me that they are they not about to walk away. They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone. And the fact that, like, you know, the dramatic moment of like Bilbo almost kicking the key off and Thorin comes back, impossible. He wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
But just like the fact that Bilbo, who has no dog in this fight, Bilbo can leave anytime and go to the most comfortable home in the entirety of Middle-earth and tend to his garden and eat his seed cakes and have a jolly life.
And let's be real, like, enjoy himself, because there's no canonical lover of his, right?
Yeah.
No,
he's just chilling, living that bachelor life, man.
Yeah, he's definitely having fun with the one-eyed snake. But yeah, you're totally right.
Jesus.
But just like it's so crazy to me that they literally just walk away. Like, I can accept a lot of things from this movie. I cannot accept that.
I guess I don't understand what is the impetus. Is it that, like, well, we don't want to pay all the 20 actors that we have hired to wait around? Like,
no,
what is
it? I think it's I think, again, this is studio meddling. And they go, this is like, they finally got to the door. We need a huge dramatic moment. And so they need to artificially create that. And so you have Thorin leaving so he can come back dramatically. And you get what I called, while we were watching this, the Marvel hero shot of the dwarves just like all lined up coming into frame.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it sounds like that Avengers song a little bit.
It does.
Yeah. We don't need it. We don't need it. Just have it happen. Have it be cool while they're all there and they get frustrated. Like we don't need extra drama, right? We don't need extra drama of them. Oh, I thought they were never gonna come back. Like, no, just have it be a cool moment. And I don't know why. I guess they changed it to the last light being the light of the moon so that we could get, again, extra drama of like the sun setting, like, oh, they failed. Not really. Actually, they didn't.
Gotcha.
It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's better in the book because it's like there's like one other wisp of so it is better in the book because there's more artistry to it, where it's like it's the sun is gone behind the mountain and there's this one pinhole that it is still shining through.
The clouds moving, I think, was what
I don't think so.
Book.
I think it was that all of a sudden, out of like nowhere, just one more.
Yeah.
Where you thought the sun had set completely. Like, so there's, when we were bored humans in the beginning of the world, as we understood it, we created structures that aligned with the sun rising and setting and the moon so that we could, so it would make sense that they would map out where the sun's going to be in that exact moment, and it could be like they could have done a pinhole from the mountain on the other side of the range. It just, at least that's how I remember it.
Yeah. And even if you maintain that, you can still keep the drama of, the sunlight's gone and then it comes back. Like they didn't need to go full turn everything up to 11. Like, oh no, the sun has to completely set and the moon's out. Like,
all is lost.
It feels like another we need Bilbo to do something moment where he's the one that figured it out.
That as well. But they actually get in there. They quickly get the key in the door. And I really enjoy them entering all together and the dwarves kind of getting, choked up. And this is where we get sort of further emphasis on the importance of the Arkenstone. So they're reading this thing that's in the entrance, "May the heart of the mountain unite all dwarves." And that's when they finally tell Bilbo the real reason he's there, which is to steal the Arkenstone.
How do you feel about that? Because the Arkenstone has become such a huge medallion or like icon for what uniting the dwarves is, when in reality the Hobbit's just a simple story about these people trying to get their home back.
Yeah, I don't like this change for multiple reasons. I'm fine. It becomes much more of a parallel to The Ring for Thorin, which was an element of the original story where he was sort of motivated by his greed and lust for the Arkenstone. But they really, again, just turned that up. And the idea that it would unite all the dwarven kingdoms is a slightly weird one. The real reason I don't like it is because of how it affects what's going to happen with Bilbo and the Smaug scene later on. Because it essentially becomes a chase the not a MacGuffin. It kind of is the MacGuffin, but chase the MacGuffin scene, as opposed to this sort of battle of wits in a sense,
right?
And just words with Smaug and Bilbo. And again, it's like, okay, we can't just have this cool scene. It's got to be like also an action set piece on top of that, which I will admit it's a cool one, and there's some cool visual stuff going on, but it really changes that the motivation, and I personally don't like that. So yeah, I'm not for the whole Arkenstone being the reason for the quest thing, as opposed to just retaking the home.
I guess I understand it from a purely cinematic reason too.
Because what else would make sense of why would they hire a burglar?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why do they hire Bilbo in the first place?
Actually, that's a good point, because like a burglar is not going to kill the dragon.
Yeah, he's not an assassin.
They really just need somebody to get one specific item.
Yeah, I mean, in the original story, he was just kind of scouting things out, essentially.
But I think it is a good explanation. I think that brings up a good point, Ben. Like, we need something that it justifies the term burglar.
And I do like I understand what Alex is saying completely. Like, we don't need another MacGuffin in these movies, but it does make sense of like why they need this mountain back. Because like, why can't they just go make another mountain kingdom? Like, why can't they go, live in the Blue Mountains with or the Iron Hills? Like, why can't they go do that? And so I do like, to a certain extent, like the Arkenstone. And I don't think it's that exactly that makes Thorin go mad. I think it's like just the treasure itself, like just in general, makes him, the dragon sickness is what they call it.
Yeah.
But this is, but just like the fact that we need you to steal this jewel. Meanwhile, it might not even be at the surface of this treasure. Like, it's one thing, just the square footage of Erebor is insane, let alone if it's at the bottom of anything, which it very well could be. This is an impossible task. You are looking for a needle in a citywide stack of needles.
Yeah.
Like,
I do love the sequence where he's looking at like a glass stone or like
no, like I literally have that in my notes where like Martin Freeman's acting is so good because he's like, this is before the volume was invented, so he's on a green screen stage, maybe with a tiny little pile of coins around him, doing like the where he tosses, he's like, oh no, too loud, like he's he's so good.
When
so
he
good in
takes
this
the
scene.
knee after,
that's
like,
my favorite.
It's perfect
Like,
acting. Where
hand on the chin and just kind of like awkwardly contorted, and Smaug's just right there.
Good. It shouldn't be good, but it's so good.
And like just building up to this moment is perfect. Like the treasure sliding off of his eye, Bilbo like ducking down, and I love like how they reveal how big Smaug is, and then slowly but surely, like he puts the ring on at the last second, and then you get the reveal. And it's, oh my God, he looks magnificent. He looks terrifying. He looks regal. And then we get Benedict Cumberbatch talking, and it's everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Jess, did you get to see the behind the scenes of him doing the mocap for this?
Years ago, actually.
Okay.
I think I will rewatch it just with better context of what he's actually doing. Because I know he's slithering, but I think I need to. I forgot to rewatch it. Because I think I wasn't impressed when I saw it years ago.
I mean, he looks insane.
He does look insane, but it's so good, man. It's so this depiction is fantastic. Now, jumping ahead, I absolutely hate him saying, "I am fire, I am death." I actually,
you're crazy.
Hate it.
That is Smaug to a T.
So bad. It's so bad.
He literally says like my claws are spears, my teeth are swords, like my wings are a hurricane. And the way he says that, my wings are a hurricane. Like he's just like so powerful. Like and just like the fact that Bilbo can never truly get far away from him, like within like 2 steps, Smaug is back on top of him, and it's so claustrophobic, even when they're in this giant space. Like, it's such a perfect scene, and I do like in a way that Martin Freeman isn't isn't invisible, because it makes Bilbo more clever for me. That he's like goading Smaug, like playing to his ego, like to keep himself alive. And I like that. And I understand in the book he's invisible, and Smaug's interested, so that's what's keeping him alive. And I like that too. But I think it's better for the scene, especially with how they portray invisibility.
Oh, I thought they were gonna keep him invisible for a long time. I was like, this is gonna make me sick if I have to look at like kaleidoscope Smaug. It was not good. And
Dragon, like literally in the book, Smaug wakes up and can smell the fresh air and pretends to be asleep. And the moment Bilbo walks in the room, he's like, "Well, I can smell you, thief." Like, there's no way Smaug, like greatest of all calamities, wouldn't be able to sniff Bilbo out. And when he's walking on treasure, his feet are moving the treasure too. So like he'd be able to zero in on him, invisible or not.
The reason I dislike the change is because, again, it ties in with what we talked about last week with the nature and the effect of the ring on Bilbo, is because the reason that they contrive to have him take the ring off is he gets like the flash of the eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? So then that means Bilbo knew this ring was like evil or bad? Like, and is like, oh, I got to take it off. It doesn't make sense for him to do that in that moment. And it's when Smaug also change from the books, which I don't particularly enjoy. He basically hints that he knows Bilbo has the ring, which I mean, sure, he's a dragon and can maybe sniff out treasure and magic rings, but he seems to imply he knows what it is. So I just don't like the reason that they invent to have him take the ring off. Maybe if they had come up with a different way of making him not use the ring, I'd be less bothered. But that particularly bothers me. And again, just
so you think he took the ring off because he realized it was evil?
So what happens is Smaug is like, you carry something gold on you, something powerful, and it implies he knows he has the ring while he's invisible. And then we see like the flash of the Eye of Sauron. And then Bilbo is like, ugh, and takes
no. So yeah, that's not what happens. Bilbo gets mesmerized or like enchanted and takes the ring off in that moment before we see him. So we see him post having taken the ring off because like kind of like he was compelled by however he was bewitched in that moment. He did.
I thought I remember seeing a flash of the Eye of Sauron.
We see a flash of the eye,
but that doesn't mean he A, knows what the eye is, and B, that I think he in that moment when the flash happened, I think he took off the ring because what he realizes when he comes to is like, holy crap, the ring's not on my finger. That's
I was interpreting it differently of like him seeing the flash and then being scared.
Jess, I think I like your interpretation, but I think the interpretation is that like it compelled him to take it off.
But I don't think he realized he did that.
I don't think he did either. I think it's poor illustration from the director from like illustrating that. I would have liked, because dragons do like hypnotize people. That is one of their powers for sure. They are smart, they are clever, and that's why like Smaug would have definitely changed the tide of the War of the Ring for sure. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just poor illustration by Peter Jackson putting like, we didn't need the flash of Sauron right there. We didn't need that. I think that's very poorly done. So I'm with Alex on that, but like it didn't bother me too much because I just love this scene so much and so unapologetically. Everything about it works, except for Bilbo almost blowing it with, it is true. The land's found. He's like,
so
what? He's like, no, nothing. I didn't say anything. What'd you say? Yeah. I just love that when he's like, oh, who are your dwarvish friends? He's like, dwarves?
That's so good.
No dwarves. Like, it's just, he's so good in this scene. Yeah. Like, Martin Freeman is just such a treasure in this scene. It's so great.
And it just, it makes me wish that a bigger chunk of this movie we were getting to see that. Like, when we talked about it in the preamble, like when we finally get to this moment, it's like, okay, cool. Now this movie is like firing on all cylinders and it's great because it is just showcasing Martin Freeman and everything leading up to this, everything we've been talking about in this podcast episode, like has not featured Martin Freeman, and it's not the greatest.
How much are they in? Like, so I know that Benedict is doing mocap, but who is Martin acting against?
Probably a tennis ball on the wall or something.
Yikes! He's killing it.
It's insane, like how good he is in this movie. Like when he had every excuse not to be.
Right.
But just like that part is so good. And then I know you guys are like talking about the Arkenstone being like, you know, a MacGuffin, but I think it works in this scene with like when, you know, Smaug is alluding to like Thorin is not this some like pure of heart king that will do no wrong. Like he will turn on you for this. He will turn on you for the kingdom. He will turn on you for the throne. And like when he notices, like, because he's smart, I like that they don't play Smaug dumb. He's like, I'm almost tempted to let you take it to see how it would corrupt Thorin. And I love that line because he's so snake-like and so evil, where he's like, I will do this. Or just like, you know, oh, what did he promise you? A share of the treasure of it? As like he's making Bilbo doubt Thorin when he just vouched for him in the previous scene. And so everything sings to me and everything about this. It's so good. And then when Bilbo finally puts the ring on, and then you see Smaug's power.
Yeah. And just the cockiness of Smaug to say that, of like, yeah, take it. I don't care, because I can just kill you whenever I want.
Yes.
Like, I can kill you after you've been corrupted. I don't need to worry about you stealing anything. Like, you're not getting away from me. It's very good.
And I forgot before this, like, you know, he's shaking things and like everyone hears it in Lake Town, and the dwarves are like, "What is that?" It's like, "What?" And like Balin's like, "That is a dragon." What do you think it is? What do you think? Are we on the same adventure here? Like, what is? Have I wasted 9 hours already?
It's kind of like the line we'll get to in a little bit, where Balin's like, "There's no fire hot enough to light these forges."
Yeah.
Oh my god, the stupidest. The dwarves don't deserve anything. Just nuke them. Can it?
Calm down, Eisenhower. Jesus.
Go back in time, make it so that Eru destroyed the original creations of Aule, and the dwarves could never exist.
Because they suck.
Write them off.
Because they suck.
But I do love that, you know, the whole, like, that's a dragon, and then, you know, they're back and they're arguing, like, oh, do we go get Bilbo? And Thorin's like, no. And it's another great line reading by Ken Stott, where he's like, I'm afraid of what this treasure is going to do to you. Like, he can see, like, Balin's no fool either. He can see that Thorin isn't, like, this perfect, you know, king. So, like, Balin should have given him some more tough love before this adventure or something like that, because he didn't have Thorin didn't have a father figure for a few years. But we get that scene.
We get that great shot where it's like Thorin in profile against the statue of his father.
Yeah,
and he literally is saying, like, I'm not him. And you just have the juxtaposition of,
it's so bad.
Are you sure?
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty cheesy.
It is very cheesy. And then when is it, like, Bilbo gets away with the Arkenstone? Well, supposedly.
I don't think we actually see if he grabs it.
No, we don't. We just see him turn invisible, and then you see all the coins flipping as he's running away. And then, man, like, Thorin is already, like, proving that the dragon sickness already got him, because he almost, like, kills Bilbo. Like, he puts his sword out in front of him, and I do love the look that, like, Bilbo, like, basically looks over his shoulder. And I'm glad they, like, he didn't do he's standing right behind me, isn't he? I'm glad it's just like this slow turn, and just like how far away he is. Like, he's
still
so
huge, though.
He's so huge. He's so snake-like, and then just like slowly going towards him is, oh, I love it. And
they definitely treat him like you said, they don't take this opportunity or any of the action sequence that is about to happen with humor. They take Smaug seriously. This is a threat. There's no joking around when he's on screen, which is good.
And like, there's a few moments in the upcoming thing, because like, I don't need if we need to go through every single part of it, where it's like the whole, oh, we need to make it. I do love when, like, there's perfect cut. I don't know what the editing was in this scene, where like Thorin gets like almost burned, and his like overcoat is going, and then he rolls. He's like, "Come on, this way," and just he just like tucks and rolls like in one. It was like the smoothest thing ever. Just like in one tuck and roll, takes the thing off. Okay, let's go. And he was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you were just on fire."
A lot, clearly,
he does.
He dodges dragon fire like 3 times in this sequence. It's almost unbelievable.
Yeah,
it is unbelievable.
Yeah, with how threatening Smaug is, there's like 2 moments. One, I do like, in a vacuum, I like the moment where they're walking across the bridge and the coins are like slowly falling, and they realize you look up. That's really cool. It makes no sense, because Smaug like has better senses than that. Yeah. But like, he would smell them or see them or hear them. But I think I'm okay. I'm excusing that, because it looks
cool imagery.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. The thing I can't,
and again, that's like the sort of horror movie side of Peter Jackson coming out.
Yeah. And the only thing I don't like is, like, you know, when they say, oh, we'll head for the forges, and he says the Ed Sheeran line, if this is to end in fire, they will all burn together. I do love that, but then like when they're like, hey, over here, no, over here, I'm like, we could have
Smaug would never.
No, he'd eat he'd eat those 5, and then he'd turn around and he would eat those 5, and
So-
then he'd turn around and eat the last 5.
He totally would.
This is the problem with this whole sequence. As cool as some of the elements are and the sort of Rube Goldberg contraptions and the idea for, making the statue and all of that stuff, there's just no way that a company of 13, including Bilbo, is gonna stand any chance against a dragon.
Yeah.
In its lair. No less. Like it's just there's no way. And like again, cool shot where Thorin is like literally standing on Smaug's snout.
Yeah.
But he's dead.
He's
dead in that moment.
Yeah, like it's there's so many cool moments juxtaposed with like when he does jump off and like grab the cable, and it's just one continuous shot of like it reminded me a lot of Gandalf jumping on the Balrog, where it's just like this continuous shot of like Smaug just throwing himself down the tunnel, like to put like that's awesome. But then I don't need Thorin like tiptoeing on his nose. That makes no sense. And then like you guys are talking about like lighting the forges. Real for anybody out there, fire doesn't work like that. You will die if you stand behind a small pillar and fire goes around it.
They would have
Fire
been incinerated.
will envelop it and light that on fire, and then you're all dead.
Even if you weren't touched by the fire, just the radiant heat.
Yes,
they're dead.
their faces would have melted right there. It would have been insane.
So you're saying I shouldn't listen to this movie when it comes to fire, and if I do, I'll die.
Yeah, battery liquor, you shouldn't. Okay.
Yeah, don't.
No. I'm gonna start giving Jess like the playground nickname. Yeah, what's up, match sucker?
It's so you roast me like no one else can roast me. It's so sad and great.
Roasted like freaking Thorin would have gotten.
Right? Yeah.
All right, Alex. Try less.
No, there's just the physics of this. You really just have to put out of your mind. Like, also, that's not how like smelting or casting metals work.
Yeah, it's
you can't ride on a river of gold and just be fine. Like,
yeah, on a metal like wheelbarrow, like your hands would have burned off. Like, there's so much of that in this that like, it's like I love this movie probably more than both of these guys combined do. But like, all these things start stacking up on top. Like, even watching this for the first time after I'm riding this crazy crescendo high of like Benedict, and Martin Freeman going back and forth, just like everything I've waited for, everything I've wanted. I'm like every single thing is like getting my legs taken out, and then my knees, and then hitting me in the balls, and then hitting me in the stomach. It's like, oh my gosh, like it's just one after the other of like completely unbelievable things that just happen in a row. And while some of them are cool, a lot of them are just like kind of goofy and almost like put the Benny Hill music behind it. It's like, okay, like this scene just didn't need to be there. And even at the end, when, they smelt all the gold and, Balin makes flash grenades and they're riding on the rivers
Balin's thrilled, by the way.
He's like, loving it. That guy's in the lab. He's cooking. But even getting to the point of like melting this whole gold statue, which is still insane to me, that's really cool. I don't care. Gold Smaug, I want that figurine. I want a gold.
Me too.
They do have a Funko. If you're into Funko Pops,
that's not the same.
It's not the same. I've got a handful of Funkos left. The rest I donated to charity. But just like, it's so awesome looking. Yeah. And then again, you end the movie on your strength with, it makes no sense of like, he's like, oh no, you can't go to like Smaug apparently is so fed up. He's like, okay, I'm done with the dwarves. I'm gonna go kill everyone in Lake Town. It's like, wait, what? Okay. Yeah. I don't follow the logic here. But you end on your strength of like Martin Freeman, like, you can't do that. They didn't do anything. Smaug turns around, doesn't kill Bilbo, which thank God. He's like, you could see them die. And so I do love like they're ending on that strength of like those two again with each other. Because like they have like not formed a bond or anything like that, but like it's almost like Smaug somewhat respects him or something for fooling him. I don't know. I'm stretching here, but whatever.
Well, no, but Smaug says that you get to watch them die. He's enjoying. This is the most fun Smaug's had in a long time.
Yeah, like he's never threatened. Smaug never is in fear for his life. He's just like, oh, it's almost like this is boring him.
Yeah.
And so like I do.
He's playing with his food.
He is.
I view it as
than Wanda playing with her food when she kills Captain Carter, but like it's because like she should have just murdered her instead of fought her for 2 minutes. But
I view it as he knows he can just like he said with Thorin saying, "Oh, take the Arkenstone. I want to see it corrupt him." He knows, or at least believes, that at any point he can kill anybody he wants to. And so he's just frustrated with the dwarves. That's why he doesn't turn around and kill him. He goes, "I'll deal with you later, because where are you going to go that I can't get to, you know? I just need to get out my anger and aggression, and Lake Town seems like a good target."
Da? Are we gonna die?
Are we gonna die, Da?
Are we gonna die, Da?
Speaking of Lake Town, we completely neglected that plot line that we haven't talked about.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, let's rewind, because I do like some of this stuff too.
You do not.
The Legolas stuff, I'm sure, right?
The Legolas stuff, baby. Let him cook. Like, as many badass moments, like the orcs sneak up, and this is something I wish they would have done a little bit more, because there is a cool scene when one of the daughters walks outside, looks to the right, and on the left you see the orcs coming over the rooftop. I'm like, that's a cool thing. Yeah. But then immediately they just like jump in, and like I was waiting like for a little more suspense and surprise. I was like, because that's a really cool shot.
It is
like just slowly them stealthing up on them. And then, Toriel comes in, is a badass. I do love where like one orc jumps on the boat, another orc jumps on the boat, it launches the first orc up, Legolas slices his head off, and it's like holding there. Love that. And then he like 1v1s Bolg, and he takes the sword and like points at him. Ultimate, like, what do they call it on TikTok? Ultimate Sigma move. And then there is a moment.
Why is it a Sigma? Hold on.
It's like
Sigma
alpha,
male.
Sigma male or something like that.
Got it.
And just like there is a really cool thing where like this is where Bolg should have been an actor, because it like the farther we get away, and this is any CGI movie, the CGI gets a little dated. And so especially there's a moment where like Bolg's got him in like a bear hug, and I'm like, okay, there's no one, like there's a guy with a bunch of bubbles on his face holding Orlando Bloom right now, if at all. But there is a cool moment where like Bolg throws Legolas, and he throws him into two other orcs, and like he doesn't miss a beat. Just like immediately, like, oh, guys over here, and just cuts him right up. And him like banging Bolg's head against a post, like we've never really seen an elf fight someone 1v1 and it lasting for more than 5 seconds. So for all the fight choreograph, like this is a well choreographed fight, and I always will love a well choreographed sword fight, fist fight, brawl, whatever it is. This stuff is well choreographed, and so I will give that scene its flowers.
You're totally right. They get their flower tonight. Okay, very good.
It's King's foil.
Oh, jeez. So I agree with you though that the CGI holds it back, because then you compare that to Rings of Power with Arondir going head to head with a live actor for minutes without hardly any background music. It's fantastic to watch that.
I will say, like, and obviously the difference is, nearly 10 years in CGI, but like in that Arondir sequence, there is a moment where he becomes like CG for a second, and that same thing happens with Legolas here, where it switches to a CG Legolas when he's fighting those two orcs.
Yeah, in the background he becomes CG. It looks a little rubbery, a little Spider-Man-y, like doing the wall crawling and stuff.
And I agree, the choreography is cool, and it's a cool action set piece minus the CG holding it back. But taken in a vacuum, it's great. But in the context of what is happening with everything, it's like, did we need to take the few minutes for this fight sequence? What is it doing for the story?
See, that's the thing is that I don't need the Smaug action scene. Like, have them sneak
Totally,
around,
yeah.
do the smelting and lure Smaug in there sometimes. I'm okay with this orc stuff because like we do need to pick it up. We do need to address like that Bolg is still tracking the dwarves and Toriel and stuff like that. I like that. So I can do without the Smaug action scene. I'd rather have this one because it is well choreographed and there is like. Yeah. And, we talked about it last week with, like, Toriel, like, I'm going to heal him, and just, like, rubbing her hands with the king's foil, like, just pressing it and saying some elvish incantation. I was like, oh, you could have done better with this.
The line read when she has that moment of hesitation and Beaufort comes up the stairs with the king's foil, and she goes, oh, Athelas. And he goes, what are you going to do? And she goes, and clutching the king's foil, and she's like, I'm going to save him. It's such a weird read on that line. Like, she becomes like, like wistful or something, and it's like, I don't get it. I don't get the angle. You're getting
directed to do that. That's the problem. Yeah. It's like, it's not like she's a bad actor. She's getting told, say it like this, and it's so. So this is why I can't handle this sequence, because it involves Keely trying to touch her hand, saying that she's an angel, that surely she can't be there. Do you think she could have loved me? I want to gouge my eyes out.
It does go on a very long time.
It's cheesy from the beginning. It's cheesy from the onset. So I just want to live in a world where that doesn't exist, please.
It is, relating again to the Star Wars prequels. It is like, Anakin, are you an angel?
Yeah.
Like, it has those vibes.
It does. It really does.
And I briefly mentioned this last week. I hate that, again, he sees her in the light the same way that Frodo saw Arwen in the films, because it's not the same thing, but we talked about it last week, so breeze past that. But just wanted to reiterate, I hate that.
Yeah, not great. I just love the action.
It is good. It just, again, for me, the whole time I was like, let's just get back to Bilbo. I want to see more Bilbo. I don't want to see orc fights.
Yeah, Martin Freeman does have that star power.
Yeah. That's all the Lake Town stuff, I think.
Yeah, that was it. Like she heals him, and then we do get a one cutaway to Bard in prison, because he's like, he's got the black arrow, and then he just gets arrested for being Bard. They literally just say that.
Right.
And then he gets put in jail, and of course Alfred's the one that catches him. Like Alfred
and the master gets to hit him on the head with a beam.
Which the master would never do that.
No.
Also, that would literally kill him. That was a pointed 2x4, like to the forehead. He's dead.
I don't know, but the master is sustaining himself on a diet of only balls, so he probably didn't hit him that hard.
That's actually probably accurate. True. Yeah, that's fair.
But he says, like, "Oh, do you not know what's coming?" Which everyone should know. Like, it's pretty loud. And then, "I am fire, I am death. What have we done?" Cut to black. Ed Sheeran, "Sing Me Home, Baby."
Fire.
Oh, Miss Beate of the mountain below. Oh, just like I don't care what you say. Just the first time I saw that in theaters, and it cut to black, and his hauntingly beautiful voice started serenading me, I got chills. It works. It freaking works.
I liked everything that's just left of center. I like the left of the dial. I pretended to not like Taylor Swift and the Backstreet Boys when I was a kid. So I don't like it when things are just way too polished. But you're totally right that it works. And what this whole movie series is riding on is exactly what you said earlier, that you have Middle Earth covered glasses, rose-colored glasses, that it is solely coasting on the fact that we know this story already, and like Peter Jackson's telling of the Lord of the Rings, in order for you to get chills to the end. Otherwise, you're walking out of that film.
Yeah,
I think
it's in the same way that if you were to play the Into the West track that Enya does, or is it Annie Lennox?
Annie Lennox.
Enya does one of them. But Into the West, Annie Lennox. You were to just play that in isolation to anybody, they'd be like, this is pretty cheesy. But in the context of you remembering seeing it in theaters and it hitting you in that moment after you've been on this ride, you hear that song and you're like, hell yeah, this gets me pumped up.
Man.
So I feel you.
So before we launch into the final film of this trilogy, where we have 2 more episodes of the Podcast of the Rings to chit chat and disagree, what's your overall like rating of this film?
Probably a 6.5.
Right.
And for those 6.5 is the one scene with Smaug.
Yeah, so that's out of 10, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
If we're going on a scale of 10, for me, this is like a 4.55 out of 10. So slightly less than you, Ben, because it does have redeeming moments and there's some good stuff in there. But that, especially this back half,
it's rough.
when we get to Lake
rough.
Town, it's rough, except for the Smaug scene.
Mm.
So. I was hoping for it to be much better because Alex and I stopped in the middle, and you were talking about how Smaug's worth the price of entry. I didn't expect to cringe as much as I did with certain things, and so I don't know that I could rate it low because I just enjoy it and I will watch it again. And it'll be fine. I'm actually really curious to watch the theatrical cut. I feel like this feels tedious because I'm beginning with the extended version.
Yeah, I do recommend the theatrical cut. It is like they cut a lot of fat out of this movie, and I hate to say that about anything Middle Earth, but there is a lot of fat, and you will see next week that there is a whole lot of fat on Battle of the Five Armies.
Oh man, that's upsetting. Well, and just like if it I will reserve until I see it because I can understand how it wouldn't. It's hard to redeem it even if it is Middle Earth. I can understand that, especially if we get more Alfred. I get it. I understand.
Yes. Oh, and we'll talk about. Yeah, we got to find where the halfway point is of like maybe like probably when the battle starts, I guess, because there's quite a bit before the battle starts. But yeah, we'll get to there when we get there.
Looking forward to it.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Nope, you can't. Please don't. This is such a joy to do this with you, gentlemen, and our audience is coming along for such a journey. Thanks for being here. Alex, anything you want people to know about?
It's a very general question.
Ben, anything? What's the link to your Patreon?
Everywhere at the Ben Goddard, guys. At Twitch, on Twitter, I suppose. Instagram, TikTok, Patreon, everywhere at the Ben Goddard. Go check it out.
Yep, you're doing cool things, and you're always streaming on Twitch. Both Alex and I are doing that too. We've finally gotten back into the swing of things after the new year. Alex, what's your Twitch handle? Twitch.tv/Solkatu. I do music sometimes. I do gaming, Lord of the Rings games sometimes, Minecraft, Magic the Gathering. So you're very special. I think you're wonderful. And
very special boy.
He's such a special boy.
Oh,
I like him so much. And I'm at twitch.tv/Jessica Nerdy, or you can go check out my coffee page where there are multiple different ways you can interact with me, including letting me tell you how improv will increase your relationship skills. It's true. I know. Okay. I know. I'm doing a seminar. I think it's just $25 a ticket, and it's going to be like lightly interactive, and you get to learn how you can increase the success of any relationship with just a little bit of improv. Alex, what are the different ways people can figure out what we're doing here? They can follow us on Twitter at PodOfTheRings. They can go to Instagram at POTRPod. If you would like to support the show financially and pledge at one of our various tiers, you can go to patreon.com/PodOfTheRings or email us at podcastoftheRings@gmail.com, or just go to podcastoftherings.com and find all that stuff in one place. Oh my gosh. And we still have yet to find the person that's the one to rule them all, which at $100, they're going to get a shirt that says, I am a $100 Patreon member of Pod of the Rings, and all I got was this lousy shirt. So I don't know why anyone doesn't want it, but they'll get it eventually. I saw it. You get to be the one. You might not be someone's one, but you'll be our one. So what did we say last week? Many roads to get to the way we're going.
Yep, nailed it.
And Ben, you say, and until then. And until then. May our roads meet again. I like to eat batteries. Yeah.